So, alright. I have a topic, bro. What does Xbox have to do to get diversity within their gaming catalog, right? So, Xbox. They're in a particular spot where, everyone does the memes where it's literally Halo, Gears, and Forza, right? Because that's been their formula for years now, right? Like, even before, I don't have an Xbox now, but even back before I even paid attention to anything Xbox, even I knew that was the meme of this Halo, Gears, and Forza. That's all they had. And it seems like whenever Xbox tries to incorporate another type of genre into their lineup, that their audience does not support the game. If you were to just say, hey, people on the Xbox only play Halo, Gears, and Forza, the Xbox fans would get defensive and say, no, we have other games that we could play, right? But then when you mention all these other games that came to the platform that didn't get supported, and you bring it up, everyone always has an excuse as to why the Xbox fan base didn't support it, right? So if you don't want people to have memes, to have jokes on why your platform doesn't have diversity, have no exclusive, as everyone says. Alright, so like I was saying, right? So, you bring up that they only have Halo, Gears, and Forza, they get defensive saying they have other games, and then when you mention other games that came to the platform, you realize that their player base did not support it, so that's why it's most likely not going to get a sequel. That's most likely why that game studio went bankrupt, because there wasn't enough people to support it. There's always excuses, and it's like, excuse me, you can't say that there's all these, I guess you can say, exclusives or third-party titles that are coming to the Xbox console, or indie games come to the Xbox console, and then nobody's supporting it, right? There's no reason for you to back up your claim that we have all these different games, right? And I feel like if they wanted to see some type of, you could say, anyways, if they wanted to see a difference in sales and support for these different types of games on their console, I feel like they're just gonna have to force feed their audience at this point, because if you give them the choice onto whether support the game or not, they're not gonna support it. They're just gonna go for the Halo, Gears, and Forza formula. So I feel like Xbox as a company just needs to constantly drop indie games or these AAA games, whichever one, advertise them and just force them to their community, because you can say that the Xbox community are kind of like stuck in their ways of formulas, right? Of that Halo, Gears, and Halo, Gears, and Forza formula. You can pretty much say that those are the only games that really do well, and I just feel like if they were to force feed it, they have no other choice but to try those games out. But think about it. If they don't release those games as frequently as they do, and I'm saying frequently, but it's probably years out to each game, they're not gonna be having anything to play. It's about to be a Netflix Hulu box, right? So eventually, people are gonna get bored enough to where it's like they don't have any games to play. Let me try out this indie game. Let me try out this I hate to say AAA indie game. No, especially if it's a developer that hasn't really released a big game like that. So I just see they'll just have no choice but to try it and see if they like it, right? And then not only that, you're gonna get new fans for a different type of genre. And then plus, the overall community for the Xbox will be more open to different formulas of games, different genres of games. And I just don't see it changing unless they force feed their audience, man. Because think about it for PlayStation, right? I'm a PlayStation fan, but I am not biased. I always keep an open mind. You see more diversity on the PlayStation, right? You have your FPS shooters, you have your FPS games, right? You have your third-person games. You have your MMOs. You have your RPGs. You got your single-player games. You have all these different types of games that do well on the platform because the player base over there are more open to diversity. It is more open to trying something new, especially if the game looks good. And I just feel like you don't have that same type of open. I don't know if open-mindedness is a word, so I'm just trying to making up words, but we just gonna go with it for the sake of the conversation. So I don't know if they have that same open-mindedness on the Xbox side. I just feel like if a new game is even brought up, it just immediately gets shot down from the jump for whatever reason, and I don't understand. Because if you don't want people to talk shit about how you guys have the same formula, it's like, well, give these other games a chance and just stop turning these games down. Because think about it, I'm thinking about from a consumer perspective, but also think about it from the developer perspective, from Xbox Studios perspective, or you can say executives, right? If they see that the only type of support that, like, for games that their system is getting is the ones that are, originally on the Xbox, which is again Halo, Gears, and Forza, they might be too afraid to try to push another game with a high budget because they feel like they're not going to get their money back. So they're playing the safe role of just only releasing those games, right? And not experimenting because they see that their player base is not giving those games a chance. So you got to think of it from both perspectives, of consumer and executive, right? If I seen that, like, dang, bro, I'm trying my best to get my audience to be open-minded to more games, and they just shoot that shit down every time another type of genre game comes out, another new IP comes out, they don't support it, they shit on it, and the company goes bankrupt. I'm out here just producing duds out here. Like, me personally, I would be like, you know what, I'm just gonna continue to release the same games because those are the only games that bring it in the big bucks, right? But now you do also have like Xbox Game Pass and stuff like that, so that's another form of revenue. But like, let's be honest, bro, majority of these games that are coming out on Xbox, they're not getting the type of support. They're not, man. They get shot down, and it sucks, bro. It really does suck. I just wish people on the Xbox side give games a chance, because like I say, even though I am a Sony fan, you don't want to have a monopoly, because as I was saying earlier with the other topic, of a monopoly, people get complacent, people start doing some really scummy business practices because they know they can, because they know there's no competition out there, and basically your choices are to deal with it or you stop playing and deprive yourself of entertainment. So you gotta choose which one is more important to you, your moral dignity and don't support it, or you miss out on the fun and just don't support it. You know what I'm saying? I think I just said the same thing twice. I meant to say your moral dignity, you don't support it, you don't play it, you miss out on the fun, or you don't like it but you still accept it anyways because that's the only option that's available to you. So pick and choose what you want to do with that. So whatever. But anyways, I feel like if Xbox was to have more heavy hitters in terms of diversity, AAA games and exclusives, that will also push Sony to do better and be better and produce do the best of their ability to make quality games to rival what Xbox is putting out. And it'll just benefit. And competition is good, bro. Shout outs to Hard 8. Competition is good, and both companies would definitely benefit from competition. Those companies definitely would.